Patch preview of 14.13. Obviously, we gotta talk about this. I haven't talked about this yet today. So let's read what Riot is planning for the next patch. Alright, so patch 14.13, we'll chat about champions tomorrow. Domination Keystone Pass. This patch we're taking a swing at defrationing Electrocute and Dark Harvest, making Electrocute more of an early game focused rune and having Dark Harvest lean more into a stacking fantasy. Simultaneously, there is a stretch goal to have Dark Harvest be better for laning champions by bringing the cooldown down so it can stack more quickly. We're simultaneously changing several Dark Harvest users, so trying to be a bit some risk averse here. Okay, so let me find the thread on Reddit that talks about this. Okay, so let's read the Dark Harvest changes. Let me see, where are the Dark Harvest changes? Okay, so Electrocute and Dark Harvest are gonna get 20 more damage rank 1, 30 less rank 18, like level 18. Buffs from level 1 to 7, nerf at level 8 plus. Yeah, this is going to make Electrocute way more early game skewed, and I honestly think this is the right way to approach the rune. I think Electrocute should be an early game skewed rune, and obviously champs like LeBlanc are gonna love this. Dark Harvest, base damage is gonna be 20 at all levels, but damage per soul is gonna be up. Previously, you gained about 3.5 damage per level, so this is a buff as long as you get 1 soul per level, and otherwise a nerf. Cooldown 45 to 35. I don't think Dark Harvest is going to be played much, even with this change. I don't see how this is much better for the rune. However, what I do think, though, is that this rune is going to be much better for low elo players. So I'm expecting this type of change, because games go later in low elo, to be more of a low elo skewed change. Opportunity. Opportunity has become the default choice for many pros ADCs, particularly at the games, as the games are slower and they're more reliant on high impact, low frequency moments. We think the gap between opportunity and other lethality items could be reduced some, so we're nerfing the item for range champions while leaving melee intact. I honestly do really like this change. I think this is like one of the good changes Riot's doing. Opportunity has been a problem for what, like Kalista ADC, Varus ADC, Corki ADC, I'm not sure what else, but yeah. Opportunity is just a good item in general because it gives move speed, and move speed is just an OP stat, I would say, and the passive is quite decent, way better than Youmu's, for example, but yeah. Kalista and Varus. Kalista and Varus have been some of the stronger pro champs for a while. At the same time, we expect Ezreal to enter the meta in a big way in 14.12. That is true, Ezreal is probably OP. We haven't seen him for a while now. We're looking at some changes to Varus to make him a little less valuable in pro while retaining both of his builds in some capacity. Right now, lethality is clearly the best build though, and we're looking to make on-hit more competitive. God bless, okay? This is exactly what I want to hear. This is what I've been saying for a long time now. Lethality Varus is cringe, AP Varus is cringe, bad gameplay, really toxic design. On-hit Varus is the best version and the most healthy version of Varus. The same way I think Bruiser GP is pretty bad and Crit GP is good. Other. We're choosing to nerf several of the champions who buy Fated Ashes items, as we believe the items are in a reasonable slot. We're also trying to be a little bit more cautious with these changes as surrounding systems like Domination Keystones are changing and we can't rule out changing Fated Ashes at a later stage. Okay. Here, I am personally really shocked that Riot thinks that Fated Ashes is an okay item. It is not. Fated Ashes is fucking broken on junglers and useless on mid laners. Now, I get that the item is probably designed to be for junglers, but I really don't agree with this, that nerfing champions before nerfing this item. I really don't agree with this. Then, like, literally every single S-tier jungler is using Fated Ashes that's AP. Like, what? Karthus, Lilia, Brand, Udyr, like, there's so many. Why the fuck are we not nerfing the item? It's so weird to me. Arena. Okay, so whatever arena, I'm not really gonna read this. Okay, so there's a lot of changes here that are not really mentioned. So let me go over... Actually, let me go over the Reddit thread. The Reddit thread is probably gonna have more detailed changes already. Okay. So we have Blitzcrank W cooldown going from 15 to 10. Okay. So as we know, Blitzcrank got nerfed last patch because in China, Blitzcrank is too good. Obviously, the nerf of 50 health plays a determinantial, whatever the word is, role in laning phases of Blitzcrank, right? Because if you play Blitzcrank versus Loan and you take an all-in, 50 HP can literally mean the life or death, right? The snowball, the difference between snowballing bot lane. So obviously, I guess the nerf is just too big, and they are bringing 5 seconds off W. I personally think this is fine. I think Blitzcrank's W is like one of the most well-designed abilities in League, and I honestly wish more abilities were like this because it has a clear strength which is giving you a lot of speed boost, but then it also slows you down, right? So it has like a drawback, and I really like the abilities like this designed, and I wish League had more of them. Gangplank. E-slow base is going to be 30 to 60% to 40 to 80%, and crit chance scaling is going to be removed on the slow. So we're only talking about slow. Okay, So the reason for this change is, I believe, because GP is kind of forced to buy Trinity Force, which means that he doesn't get a lot of crit really fast into the build, right? Which means that even if he has 2 items, it's only 25% crit, and a 3 it's only 50% of crit. So it takes a long time for GP to stack up crit, which basically means the slow is kind of not impactful, and this is going to be a massive buff. Even if your champion, even if GP is crit, because you go Triforce every game first item, yeah, I mean, massive utility buff for GP. I honestly think this buff is deserved, and I think I'm totally fine with this. Gragas passive total HP scaling. What? Total HP scaling? Wasn't Gragas? Oh yeah, Gragas passive used to be 8%, and then it got nerfed to 6.5, and now it's getting nerfed to 5.5. Well, I'm fucking shocked about that. Okay. Wow. Honestly, I find this really strange way to nerf Gragas. I do get that the passive is like annoying for Gragas, but I don't understand why we're nerfing passive again when it already got nerfed, because the thing is, like, if you keep nerfing passive, then he's just gonna feel like a champ with 4 spells with no passive. I personally find this nerf really weird. I definitely wish they made just the passive worse early and better late. So instead of this being 5.5 flat, I wish they did like 4% early and like 8% level 18 or something like that. I think this type of change would be way better. Okay. Graves E armor per stack 2 to 14 to 4 to 16. Okay, we're having a little bit of an early game buff for Graves. The thing is, like, in jungle, having more armor, does it really matter? Not really. Like, this champion clears camps with losing no HP as long as you know how to kite. So, I mean, of course it plays some role here, but I think this buff is just really small. Kalista nerf, so we have base AD down to 61 to 59. That's gonna be huge. 2 AD on an early game bully is huge. W tooltip now notes that non-champion damage cap of 100 to 200, actual effect unchanged. R cooldown also up by 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Wow, late game R nerf from Kalista. This is gonna make play some role in team fights late game, mid to late game, not being able to ult the support so often. Okay, I mean, honestly, I don't think Kalista is that good. I've never thought Kalista is a good champion. I know pro players have a fetish on Kalista, whatever. Kennen base health down by 31, so they're making the number flat, so it's like perfectly 580. They're probably gonna keep doing that in many years to come. But yeah, okay, early game nerf to Kennen. Kennen's been kind of popping off this patch. He got quality of life changes on ultimate, so now like he's less clunky. He can get ult more reliably on top of opponents. And yeah, first shot got nerfed, whatever, for Kennen, which kind of sucks, but still, he's pretty good, yeah. For solo queue. Lee Sin, okay, so we have the yearly Lee Sin buff. Health growth up a little bit, W base shield up early game. Okay, yeah, some early game buffs, some scaling buffs. Pretty much durability buffs more than anything. Actually, the W base shield going up by 20 more can make like impact, like can do differences when Lee Sin is like covering a teammate on a gank and he counter ganks and then he shields a teammate. Like this could like technically play an impact. Then we have Misfortune change. Base AD up by 3, massive. W speed, ult new. So after 4 seconds out of combat, gain 30 to 50 move speed. So that's more than before. After a further 3 seconds, instead of 5, gain 60 to 100 speed instead. Wow, so okay. So it's just a buff at every stage. Wow. Okay, so Misfortune is getting such a big mobility buff. I think these numbers look to be way too insane personally, but I think these buffs are probably going to make Misfortune OP, and I think these are too big, especially for low elo players, and they're probably intentionally big to make people aware of Misfortune, then they're going to slightly nerf her. That's probably what they're thinking, but in any case, like, wow, she's going to be super fast roaming champion. Like, out of combat, rotating to Drakes, maybe lane swapping, maybe just moving to mid from base. Like, wow, this is going to be crazy. Even moving from base to bot lane. Yeah, I mean, this is super crazy. Also, this is also crazy, right? Orianna base AD 40 to 44. Okay, so I saw a lot of people are excited for these buffs, and I'm kind of indifferent about them. What I like about it is I think Orianna's last hitting is really bad, like first 4 levels, before your passive starts doing any damage. So for early game, for the first 4 levels, the last hitting here is really nice, because honestly, I do think last hitting with Orianna first 4 levels can be a bit too hard compared to other champions. However, the reason why I don't like the buff, so I like it, but I also don't like it. The reason why I don't like it is because she's already an early game bully. When players play Ari or Comet Orianna with Scorch, with the new W buffs that happened like long time ago, she's an early game bully. Like, Orianna is more of an early game champ, a mid game champ, than she's a late game champ. And this has never been really her identity, if you look at many years in the past, but now it kind of is. And I don't like this because these type of buffs only buff the early game, which makes her even more of a lane bully. And I don't like Identity for Rihanna to be more of a lane bully. I kind of wish different buffs would happen, but it is what it is. Ponton W minimum damage to champions, 50 to 60. Okay. Reminder that the spell now this percent health damage. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, so we have a lot of Varus changes. Base AD down by 3. Attack speed, growth also down. Passive, minion attack speed is 10% with no scaling. Huh? Okay, that's just a huge nerf. Champion attack speed plus 40% base attack speed. 40% no scaling. Okay, so the passive doesn't scale with anything. Flat at every rank. While active from champions, your attack speed cap is now increased from 2.5 to 2.7. So if you kill a champion in a team fight and you're on hit Varus and you're late game, you will be able to now overcap attack speed to 2.76. This number is so random. This effectively means only the value from the passive will ignore the cap, but any further breaking the cap is still disallowed. This is currently implemented, is a little error prone. Now grants AD and AP for the same duration. Oh, okay, so it gives you a lot less attack speed, but it's gonna also give you now AD and AP. Minion kills will give you a daggers, 10% base attack speed gives you 1 AD and 1 AP. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Champion takedowns, 15% base attack speed. Okay, so basically, the passive now really incentivizes you to buy a lot of attack speed in the build. Because the attack speed from the build is gonna convert into more AP and AD for you. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, okay. Okay, I get what they're trying to do here. Yeah, this is because Lethality Varus is not going to get any... Yeah, he also becomes kind of like a reset champion, right? Like he kind of really wants a passive proc, champion proc, passive proc in a team fight. Okay. W passive base damage is up. Late turn for base. So this you kind of want to max Q into W probably, or maybe even W max first. There could maybe be a viable strategy to max W first. I'm not sure. Probably not. Basic ability cooldown refund is 1% up. Max per target at 3 stacks 3%. Empowered WQ missing health damage. Alt is 6 to 14. New one is 6 to 12. 6 to 14 by spell rank. What? Does this even change anything? Okay, it nerfs builds that max E second and W last. Okay, so basically, if you want to max E second, this is a nerf. If you max W second, it's a buff. Okay, and Lethality Varus probably maxed E second, right? I mean, I actually don't know if it maxed E second or not. Okay, well, that's interesting. I personally think I agree with Riot that these changes do push more towards on-hit Varus. But when I totally read this, I don't see how Lethality Varus... I mean, 380 nerf. Oof. I think Lethality Varus might still be playable. Probably needs one more change. W on hit, max E second Lethality. Okay, I mean, yeah, definitely. These changes are definitely better for on hit. Actually, now that I read the whole Varus changes, I actually like them. I actually think Riot is thinking the correct way. I just wish they've done this so many months ago. I don't know why it took them so long to like try to make Lethality Varus be worse. Lethality Varus is so toxic, and the same goes for AP Varus. Xayah, E base damage per feather, up by 5. E cooldown, down by 1. Each rank. Okay, totally fine. Totally fine. I think this is the serve. Xayah is not really like strong. This is totally fine. Zac. Okay, we have Zac changes. God help me. Base armor up by 2. Passive scaling 5 to 8%. To 4 to 8%. Between our ranks and now it's champions linear scaling. So I assume it's a nerf at like every time. Okay, well, honestly, like I would say it's a small nerf. It's a small nerf, bro. It's a small nerf. Opportunity decaying speed on takedown 50 up 50. Okay, so a little bit better at disengaging fights. Passive lethality for range is now 0.6 of melee. Oh, okay. Okay, so that's a pretty good nerf. Last lethality from on range champs on opportunity. Fair enough. And that's kind of it, right? I went over everything. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, so the champions I didn't go over with. Lissandra. God, thank you. Been crying, been begging Riot on my knees for Lissandra buffs. She's one of the champions that should have gotten buffed the most in probably the last 24 months, I'm gonna be honest. It took them so long to give her any sort of buff. Wow, I hope they're big. Honestly, please go hard. Everything else here I covered. For nerfs, they're nerfing Brand, so this is one of the junglers that uses Fated Ashes. Again, it's really weird they're nerfing. Then again, nerfing Brand I think is fine, because Brand is also OP on ADC and mid lane, so it's not just like a jungle thing. Gragas, okay. Karthus, yeah, understandable. Kennen. Skarner nerfed, God bless, finally. More Skarner nerfs, still OP. This is like 6th or 7th Skarner nerf in a row. By the way, it just doesn't stop. Talia nerf, really surprised they're nerfing Talia. I personally, like, is Talia really that oppressive still? She already got nerfed like twice now. I'm not sure, like, I think they're gonna go very small on Talia. And then this is Zac, and then Kalista Varus, and Dark Harvest Electrocute Opportunity. Guys, the patch, it's looking really small. It's looking really small. And if you just look at mid lane, guys, there's almost no mid lane changes in the whole patch. Like, almost nothing. It's so little. Not much to say. It's just gonna be a small patch. It's not gonna be noticeable, not gonna be felt for the most part. I hope Lissandra buffs are big, as it's looking just rough for mid laners.